So, hello everyone. I'm starting. This is the first time that I've actually started the stream and have anyone in the stream. So, welcome everyone. I hope you can hear me. And tonight I'm going to, well, we'll see here if we can get that audio is with me at probably about 10 seconds delay or something. So, I'm not going to start getting into something and not hearing. Let's see if you, I hope you can hear me. Hi, S514. Cool. This is so, yeah, so I hope that I can be heard, that you can hear me, and that you can see my, well, let's zoom in here a little bit on the, okay, let's see here. Yep, hopefully you can hear. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Great. Yeah, so the theme tonight will be the same as I did on my last stream 2 weeks ago when we started working on the adding and tweaking the islands here down in the Pearl Sea or the Vohun Ocean or whatever it's supposed to be called. It has several names, and I was thinking that we should probably, well, I can go back because we have a couple of people here in the audience that have not been with this project from the beginning, so to speak. So the idea is to, what I've done is that what I want to do is I want to bring up the my Flanese map to a new edition in 2021, so by the end of the year around Christmas. And what I've done is that I've created a bunch of versions of Earth, or not a bunch of them, three actually, but I'm going to take the normal version of Earth, and then I have the a planet version of it here, and I want to bring up the oh, this is the, well, no, this is good, it's the winter version. Let's do the summer version instead here. So here we go, here we have the summer version. So I want to bring the current Flanese map up to standard, so it matches this one, and that means that I need to tweak the islands down here. We need to tweak the ocean shelf. That's something that Troy is kind of an expert on, so I might need lean on his expertise on that one. And we need to look at the ice up here. There are some islands here, and that island needs to be tweaked a bit. And then we'll see how much we're going to expand it down south. But I definitely want to change this and make it fit the earlier sources, and also the Isle of Dread. So I think we will be a little bit all over the place and tweak these things for tonight. Hi Pete Bog, welcome back. So that's my normal, and now I have a cold Earth and hi David, welcome. Yeah, I know I haven't followed all your wonderful instructions. I need to study them better so I can send out proper links and stuff. But you know me, I'm terrible at that stuff. The administrative side of things I try to ignore as much as possible. So what I've done is that I've marked out, I've actually imported the layout of the current map. Hang on a second. Here is the layout of the coastal layout. So it's these islands here, and these islands here, and the islands down here that needs to be tweaked. And then I'm going to look at the continental shelf around the whole subcontinent and match it onto. So I've actually projected it in here, and one of the I say projected it in. Oh yeah, you missed 12 minutes, but you only missed the precursor. I started 10 minutes before to set up things, so I started the stream 10 minutes before I went online, so to speak. So yeah, I said projected in these islands and stuff because the problem with the current map here is that it's basically no projections at all. Yep, exactly. Flat earthers wrong. Yep, exactly. Yep, that's why I did that, Brian, to prove all the flat earthers that it is not flat. It is actually a sphere. And what you can do, let me show this. And I can show this right away. We can go here and we can do map to globe. To globe. There we go. So we can actually go to this kind of super cool website that is called Map to Globe. So here we have an empty globe, and we can load one of these images because they are done in, let's do the ordinary Earth. So we can take a look at the continental outline here, and here we can wrap this file because it's an equirectangular projection. So that means that it can actually be wrapped onto a globe like this. And the Map to Globe website is free, so you can just surf there and go and upload this image. And it is available on my Greyhawk repository. So hang on a second, let me send the links, and you can actually go there and download this file, and you can actually do that yourself. And so there we go. Thank you, Brian. Yep. So this is the continental layout, so we can look at the where the different continents and stuff. So this is the global projection, but we can flat Earth society. Yes. Oh, cool. Yep. I guess that's the way to watch my stream on the big TV. So instead of doing that one, we can actually look at what it will look like textured. So here is a textured globe, so you can see what Greyhawk looked like. And one of the major changes is that you get this rounded shape compared to what we are used to when we look at it flat. And that map is not really projected at all. So I'm going to put this in. The next one of the main projects for next year is to put this map into GIS, so we can actually every part can be mapped properly onto the globe, so the Flanies map. And that's why I needed to do this first, and then do more detailed maps when I have it placed properly on the globe. So we can look at, we have the South Pole area, we have the Great Southern Continent, we have Hepmona Land, and we have this that I call Menseri. This is an homage to Frank Menser's Antaria. And then we have Fireland up here, and we have Western Oerik. And I've also done, let's take a look at, I've also done this in cold and hot versions. And so let's look at the cold version here. So we have the cold Ice Age version of Earth, and here it's the summer in the north and winter in the south. So here is what it's a little bit less quality because I simply, it took a long time to do each of these, so that therefore I had to cut a little bit of corners, so to speak. So this is a version where you have a cold ice age climate. And one of the things that happens here is that since there's so much ice that is actually frozen, and a lot of it is frozen over land, because the Earth, compared to our real world Earth, has a large northern continent as well. So when that freezes over, the oceans actually sink a lot. So they are lowered. So there's land bridges. Hepmona Land is now connected to the Flanies, etc. We have all these islands form like a mini continent here, etc. So this means that it freezes over. But let's look at a northern winter during Ice Age. We can really see what will happen if we make the climate really, really cold here. Yep, that ice bridge, and if we look at it in the winter here, you can see that we have an ice bridge all the way down to this continent that is much larger in the cold version than it is during hot. This island gets bigger, and you see we have like a huge ice sheet covering most of it. The whole of the Dramij Ocean is frozen over, and we get a frozen tundra all the way down to near Div, and we get a boreal forest that covers the central Flanies. And the Azure Sea here is an inland sea, and there's like a major river leading out into the Pearl Ocean here. And large part of the coastlands here are not flooded anymore. So we have like the eastern Flanies is extended all the way out to the Spindrift Isles, Lindor Isles, and stuff. So the eastern part here becomes, I think, where a lot of the action is, so to speak, because this is a large temperate area where the Flan had their homeland probably during the Ice Age, when you want to put it. So yeah. Yeah, so the Azure Sea here becomes like a big Caspian Sea, so to speak, and the Woolly Bay and the Relmore Bay here is actually reduced in size, so to speak. So that is part of it. I wouldn't be surprised if there's more white dragons in during an ice age. And next mapping stream, I'm going to show the hot Earth. But those of you that are my patrons can go to Patreon today and take a look at the hot version of this. And because I just posted that too, so I can post a link in here. And I think most of you are my patrons already. So that is, yep. Well, thank you, Brian. Yep. So this opens up a lot of interesting scenarios. And then my next Patreon look was going to be compare hot Earth and cold Earth and the normal Earth, and see what areas are good. If you want to start a civilization, what areas should you be in, so to speak, because that can be very interesting. There are some areas, especially in here in the central Flanies, like here, that will be in about here, that will be in the middle of a desert, in some climates, and it will actually be a coastal metropolis in other areas. So you can have in the middle of the desert, you can actually have a city that sometimes in some climates will be a coastal major hub, and in some areas it's 1,000 miles away from an ocean, so to speak. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That is, yeah, the areas around here, they're full of flan and almore and stuff, and that I can explain why there's flan had its a lot of the center here. And one of the other interesting thing is that this area here around the Cairn Hills is one of the best real estates on the planet, because almost no matter what the climate is, you can live here, so to speak. So that is something to look into. So, and there's a couple of other places. I want to identify all the places that are really good places to run a civilization on Earth, regardless of the climate being hot or cold. So that's something for next week to look into, the hot ones. But this, now I'm thinking that I should just get all my snacks away here and take a look at the islands here in the south. And first, I think we need to get rid of this white thing here. Let's see here. That's the one. So I should just mark there. Yep, there are in Atlantis. We have the Isle of Woe, I think it's called. There is an island in Nurdev that have a tendency of disappearing, that disappeared. But to me, it might be also that the level of Nurdev might have risen and disappeared, so to speak. So it might not necessarily been that the island disappeared, but if you take the hot and the cold scenarios I've done, you will have lots of islands that will come and go depending on the climate. So for my campaign, I'm going to build a timeline where you have recurring hot and cold climates, like every 10, 50, 20 or whatever thousand years. I want to tweak something so I can make an interesting historical model of when it was cold and when it was hot and stuff. So that way I can kind of look into history, biology, where civilization can come from, and maybe use that to explain some of the where the soul came from, etc. Yep, yep, Troy, yep. There is magic involved too, and that's the cool thing in a fantasy world. You can kind of make combine magic with geology and geography, so to speak. So you can have like a fantasy and tectonics that could be influenced by a whole lot of stuff except planetary physics. So I want to tweak things. So I'm going to start by using the pencil tool here and go and because we did that last time, so I'm going to remove the areas already done here. So I'm going to make the pencil a little bit better, bigger, and just go in and oops, paint away these so we know which one we need to do and which one so we already covered. Oh, thank you, Copernicus. Yeah, the Greyhawk lore is deep and rich, but it still has gaps and openings and possibilities for each DM. You can tweak it for to suit your campaign, so to speak. Yep, yep, David. The having the you can have temples that are submerged during normal times and during hot climates, but come up and are exposed during ice ages. So that's the interesting. And now I have a kind of a doggy malfunction here again. We used to call it the familiar. I would need to take Minnie up here. She's been having her dinner, I think, and she wants up. If you've seen the streams from Lord Gesumba streams, you know what happens when Minnie wants her treats. There we go. So, okay, let's dig into things. Now we need to look at the source maps and stuff. So I'm going to open up some articles and stuff here and look at the Isle of Dread. Here we have, I think, the best of the maps of Isle of Dread. So let's concentrate and see if we can get this. We can turn this little white thing. I'm going to take that out a little bit. So we can turn this white thing here into a model coming from this, so to speak. So use this as a model and then tweak this into being a textured version of this. This is the Isle of Dread map from Savage Tide campaign by Paizo. Let's see here. So I'm going to keep this on a secondary screen. Unfortunately, I can't stream all my screens, but I guess it's good because I can keep some things off the wraps here. But now I see we have a few more issues here. So let's, before we go into Isle of Dread, let's go and find, I'm going to get some other, a map that, there we go, that Mike Bridges did, because he did some of the best maps of this area, probably the best ever. And this is the, oh, that didn't cover it. Okay. Sure. See? Here we go. Here we go. This map that Mike Bridges did, that it's one of the best ones. So I'm going to use this map, and then there is one other map we're going to use, and that's the 576 map, source files, and of course we're going to use the Darlene map as a base. But the problem is that, like you see, this is south of the Darlene map, so it's not much of of, of use for us at the moment. But there is one other map that is often forgotten, but one of these little things that are in the 83 box set. So I'm going and show that we have a bunch of source maps, and that is this map that is from the Gazetteer. So this map that shows the dotted line here shows where the Darlene map covered, and is basically the area that I covered. I expanded down a little bit further south, and now I want to expand even further south. But here we actually have this island here. We have the island of Ruha down here, and the Isle of Dread is not here, so to speak. So, but we have it here because that was kind of shoehorned in afterwards, I think. So we'll see what we can do. And you have Ruha Isle here. So I think that Mike Bridges did a really good job here. So I'm going to use this and then keep a little bit on an eye on this too here, and use these two as the guiding principle here, so to speak. So I'm going to make them smaller and put them on the secondary screen here. And last time I did the live stream, we actually moved the Ruha from here to here. And now I want to take these kind of shallow bits and move them there too, and see. But first we need to remove the white here so we can paint away those, because we already covered that bit. Okay, so now we need to that's the bit that we have it, and then we have shallow ocean. That's the one there. So okay, so now I'm going to do an experiment here and just take this, and because this is Photoshop, and the shallow ocean is just a white layer that is painted on and off using a mask. So what I do, I have select the mask and I bring this here, and now I can just drag this down here. Don't worry, there will be a white hole there, but we will fill that afterwards. And now we have some issues here, but we need to figure that out. And that is probably because we have some other let's see here. We have lighten, and we have some other holes here. That's the river thingy. So now I need to figure out what's causing this. Yep. Let's do deselect. Okay. No, hang on a second. I should probably not have deselected it. Okay, so let's see here. So we have now I need to figure out why it is covered. So let's undo here. Undo, undo, undo. This is tricky. Yes, David, you're absolutely right. These are two maps that are bolted together, and I was going to paint over the ugly parts. And now you can, there we go. So now I wonder how come that this is, so worst case scenario, what we do is that now I'm going to make a duplicate layer here. I'm going to duplicate the layer, and then I'm going to hide that original layer, so I keep that as a safeguard, so to speak. And now I'm going to copy that part, and then I'm going to move it just for the heck of it, and I'm going to move it in, and now I'm going to simply move that up in the order of things until it's visible, and it should be visible because there's nothing there. Okay, so it's not the layer order, so it's some other issue. So okay, so we have some other issue with this. Now I know exactly what the problem is. Okay. I'm sorry, I haven't used Photoshop every day for hours. Okay, so now I know exactly what the problem is. The problem is that this shallow ocean, the white ends here, so to speak. So what I need to do is to first we need to do this to normal and just check that it's white. Yep, it is white. So we can do 21% again, 25% and lighten, and then we take that one, and now I just fill that with white. Yeah, it was not that he went behind something, it was simply that the white color that is used for the mask was only covering the top part, not the extended part. So I need to add the white to the rest of the image, and that way it will work. So there's a lot of tricks. So now we need to do the trick again here. And just to be safe, I'm going to duplicate the layer and turn off the copy and then work on the original. And now I'm just gonna take a lasso and take a lasso around here. Oh, I didn't get it all. So let's do that again. Oh, there was one little island I didn't get. Damn, I need to not... There we go. And then take these little bits here. There we go. Now it will work. There we go. And now we can just put it around the islands like that. And we can deselect. And what we do now is we take black and just fill in the ugly bits here. There we go. So now we've fixed that bit. Then there's some other bits here with the depth. I'm going to ignore them for now because, like you see, it's the old bit and the new bit don't match, both color-wise and the edges here. So the whole shallow depth, ocean depth thing needs to be reworked. And here are some other remnants from early tries and tests and stuff. So I'm going to ignore that bit for now. But we need to look at these little islands here and start comparing them to Mike's here. And I'm starting to feel like we might have... He has a whole bunch of islands here. So we have that little island there that we should probably move away. And then we have a whole bunch of islands up here that is not on the map. So maybe we should clean up this a little bit and take these islands and move them about. Hi, Toriano. Welcome. So we're going to take some of these and puzzle them out to where we are. So I'm thinking that one... let's see which one they could look like. Well, these are just doodles compared to his here, so we can be any of them. So how about make that one into this? I think that could work. So I'm going to... Let's do that here. Yes, if I do the Ice Age Earth, yes, this will all be turned into land. So we'll see. I will probably not do detailed Ice Age maps, but I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, we'll see. But there will be... I need to do the contemporary Earth first, or World of Greyhawk as it is in 576 to 598 something. So before we dig into... But I wanted to, for historical reference and for geographical reference, I wanted to do the hot and cold, just to look at it a bit. Okay, so let's take this one and move it down here do just like we did with the previous ones. But first we need to move the textures. So let's do the same thing here. We pick up the texture bit here, and then we just move that one down here, and then we deselect. And now we can go in and take this one and just paint away the mask so we see what we're doing here. And then we need to take the shallow ocean and paint that little around here and get the shallow bits here. And then get them over. Now I need the keyboard and nudge it. I think that's where it needs to be. Then deselect, and we go in here and paint over this. I need to make sure I don't have a lot of, I have scattering and stuff on it. I don't need that. Make it brush a bit smaller here, and then we paint over this bit here. So now we move. Now it's time to do the first save, I think, so we don't get into. We can save, and that's one of the reasons I want a really fast computer with really fast SSD, so I can do saves much faster. And when I get a really fast computer, we can also work a lot more in World Machine and other stuff, because there is so much weights and stuff. But when you do that, you have to sit and wait when you look at a progress bar. I don't want to stretch it stress it too much when I do a stream, because then the stream starts lagging and hacking, and we start losing frames and stuff. So now I think it's time to we take some of these other islands and puzzle them out to various areas, and keep this one in fresh memory, so to speak. Yeah, but this one is not that complicated. I have way worse. We're going to see worse examples of layers when I do other projects in my live scene. So this one is fairly simple. This one is only, what could be 25 layers. I've had maps with like 60 layers and stuff, so to make it really complicated. But that's during the editing, and then you remove them. You see, I create copies just to be sure and safe. So naming layers is really important, and you can also group layers. I haven't grouped anything here because this is a fairly simple one, but the really advanced ones, when you move into shadow maps and you have lots more masks and stuff. So yeah, only 25 layers. Yep, I can sometimes have way more. Okay, so let's dig in and see what we can do with this one. Where can we put this one? We should not move them around or rotate them, because that way the shading will not work. So they need to have the same north to south axis. But I'm starting to think this one might work. Let's see here. This one, could that work here? Or maybe here? He has a more rounded little island here. So let's honor Mike's map here the most, so to speak. And first we have this island here. That is a large island. And he has, hang on a second, now we need to zoom out the big picture here a little bit. So I'm going to put that on the side and zoom out so we can see what we're doing a bit here. So we have here, so we have two islands here in that's my mist isles. He has more isles than me here, but I'm not going to touch that. Well, comparing its layers, it's only half the story. The other half of the story is the number of pixels. And this image is 23,000 by 25,000 or something like that. So let's look at the image size. This one is 27,000 by 36,000 pixels. And that kills a lot of stuff. So yeah. So the combination of pixels and layers is and bit depth are the make up the size of the image. So this is 8-bit. So the mode here, this is RGB 8-bit. Sometimes you need to go to 16-bit and then the files grow exponentially. Normally you never have to touch 16-bit, but when you do height maps you need to at times, and that can make it really difficult. Okay, so the islands, yeah, the islands are moving. Yeah, these are the islands that been here, except for this one here that I did 2 weeks ago. Everything else here have been here since I started my map, so to speak. So now it's the first major revision when we add stuff and we expand the map and stuff. That's the first time I've done that in 20 years. So this is kind of breaking new ground, literally, so to speak. So, but we have, I'm going to bring up this map. I really love Mike's map, what he did with this one. It's simple, but I love it. It's so cool. So we have this island here that juts out here. To be honest, this one here perfectly matches that one. So I'm so tempted to add it there, and so I think I will actually do it, and then we can tweak in. But now we have that one there, so no, I'm going to keep it. I'm not going to move more around than necessary. So we have that one. So we probably need to create an island here. So we need to create an island west of here that juts out there. So let's work and create that from what we have, so to speak. And now I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and we're just going to do what we did last time and do the clone tool and start working with the clone tool, and then simply steal some stuff. So I'm just going to get the outline done, and now I'm going to rake up the opacity to 100% and flow fairly high, and then I'm going to check that I don't have any textures. I'm going to increase the hardness just a little bit so we get the outline, and then just steal some jungle and a little bit of hills in here, and then I keep looking at the other one and just keep adding a little bit here. So we that is probably, yeah, we can tie it into the other island. Now I'm going to take it a little bit further south. That's a little bit too far north, I think. And I must have one of the worst hand coordinations in the world, because instead of having one stroke I always do like 50 strokes. So I'm going to put it a little bit southwards here so we can kind of connect to this island and then go up there to that one. I think that will do. Okay, and then we add a little bit there. Now we need to look for some little hills or something so we can kind of add a little bit of structure there. So we add some hills in here, and there are some hills there too, so we can kind of steal some of that hill. So we have a lower part here, we have some hills, and there we have a fairly nice island in a few little bits there. So let's zoom in here, and here we got, now we need to tweak some of the coastlines and just tweak the surroundings here a bit. So I'm going to take a regular brush and make it way smaller. There we go. And then I'm going to add a little bit of texture, not that much. Just a little bit of texture. And that is way too much scattering, but I'm going to add just a little bit scattering. That will probably work. And something like that. And then I'm going to pick up the beach color here, and then I'm going to lower the opacity to about 40% and flow to about 60. Turn on the size due to pressure, and then simply start tweaking, adding some beachy areas here along the lowlands. And I'm going to skip these areas where you have hills that come close. So and here is a beachy area. So and a little bit of beach there too. And that is not bright enough, so I'm going to take this color and I'm going to reduce the, there we have something sandy. There we go. I need to paint over some of the jungle here too. There we go. Add, work a little bit here and there. And this is something you don't need to be precise. The whole idea is to be a little bit all over the place. And then take the I can steal some here and do this one very, very small. Have scattering, texture, then bring down the size to 8 pixels, a little bit bigger, maybe 12 pixels, and then steal some of that and just get over here. So these uniform edges and making them a little bit kind of jagged here and there. So I think we have our island. Yep. Now we just need to add some shallow seas to this and see what we can do here. And that is, this is a little bit tricky. Now I need to test this and see. We have, oh, white. That might work. So now I need a brush that is not so hard, I think. A little bit bigger. Doesn't have as much texture. There we go. And a little bit bigger. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. So we paint in some coast. That is too much texture. I can see that already. So let's skip the texture and go this and hardness and add some scattering instead. And then we tweak the, and I remove that. Yeah, this is better. So save a little lagoon in there and just paint in, and this island now looks like it's been there the whole time. Okay, now we added that little island. But the thing is that on both Mike's map and on this map, there are no island north of this big one. This one is really hard because it's only the big ones. The rest here is just printing fuss or it's just the paper quality that creates some of this stuff. So it is guesswork, both of this. So we're going to see if we can move some of these islands to other areas here, maybe. Yeah. And keep a couple of these. That will be, and then remove the other ones here. But on the other hand, they've been here. But I think we move the upper bits here and see what we can do with these. Yep, yeah, Troy, that is a very good question. And these islands, I think, are part of a landmass that are right now submerged, so to speak. So they are formed by tectonic motion or something like that. And then you might have some old volcanism or something here. Maybe this was part of a mountain range long time ago. Yep. And so they're remnants of old geological activity that has been grind down. So they are like the Appalachians or the Scandinavian or the Colombian mountains, or that the Appalachians for parts of, or something like that. The Urals and others that are been around for a long time, rather than being. But a lot of islands are also part of just volcanoes, like hotspots like Hawaii or the Canary Islands. That's another, especially islands that are by themselves in the middle of the ocean. They're often over a volcanic hotspot, and then they form a chain of islands as the tectonic plate is moved over it, and then the magma spews up in a new place every couple of millions of years or so. But in this case, might not be. We can have there's volcanic activity, so I can see that the Isle of Dread down here is a volcanic island, but the ones up here might not be volcanic. So not every island is volcanic. So let's make these part of the on they are sitting on the continental shelf here. So they're just parts of the land mass, so to speak, that has been partially submerged. But I'm going to take these islands here and move them down to here. I think it's a good spot if we can. Hang on a second. I think here is a better spot because that follows the outline there. So let's do that here. And make sure that we are in the right layer. There we go. And let's steal these here. There we go. And now we go here and we move them around. We can probably tweak them just a little bit like this. There we go. And there we go. I'm going to deselect. And now I'm going to real quickly use the pencil tool. I use the pencil tool instead of the brush tool because the pencil tool give me clear color. So if I just want to fill a hole with one color, then I can just do that. I'm going to turn off the shallow ocean so we see what to do, and then I'm just going to hold down the Alt key, take a sample color, and then just paint these in because I've had enough of all these artifacts. At least I can clean up some of them fairly easy. So there we go. It's not perfect, but it's almost perfect. These blue colors are so close to each other that you might not see it on the YouTube video, and sometimes if I go from one monitor to the other, I can't see it. If I move my head to another side, I guess that's the thing. If you have a $4,000 monitor instead of a $1,500, you get to there's nuances you can't see in some areas. So now I'm going to take the new island mask and going to remove these so we can see what we're doing here. And now it is time to take the shallow ocean here and go here in the mask, and then simply take mask around these and then take the same area down here. Yeah, you might have some buffer issues. I'm getting a little bit. We'll see if it comes back or not. I hope you can hear me. Oh yeah, it seems like we're back again. We lost a few frames. So now I'm going to take this here and I'm going to move it down like that, and then I'm going to twist it a little bit and then move it. This is the tricky bit when you start messing about with the angles here a bit. So I need to nudge it around here a bit. Then there, I think we got it. Yep, that's good enough. We can fill in the rest afterwards if need be. Okay, now we moved the both the shallow ocean and the underwoods, and then we have to kind of paint in the other bits. Now it just need to fix the hole up here too. Yeah, it skipped a couple of times. I got an error, so hopefully it will come back again. I think it's since it's Friday night, a lot of my neighbors might watch too much YouTube or something. Okay, yeah, I hope it can work out a little bit here. So it's been the same every every stream we've had like one little issue, a hiccup halfway through. I might have to stream some other time because this is probably the time when the internet is the one of the most highest load. Everyone is home gaming and watching Netflix and stuff. There we go. Okay. Yeah, it's no, it's not you. So the stream status is poor for a little bit. We'll see if it comes back or not. Worst case scenario, I have to start it all over again, and if that don't work, we'll see. Because the problem is that there's not much I can do when the internet is low, so to speak, and I have a 300 megabit, but the problem is that the upload is only like 100 or 80 or so, and sometimes I get less than that. Okay, but now I think it's time to save this, not just for the streaming, but to make sure that we don't lose any of the stuff we've done. Let's see here. Okay. Yep. So while I'm saving here, it's yeah. So when you do mapping like this, it's a lot of grunt work. You just have to sit and slog it through in Photoshop, so to speak. It's just a lot of Photoshop work. And then you have to go back and do reference work and simply put things in. And this is originally done in a program called Bryce. So I rendered small bits, put each little part in Photoshop, and then stitched them together. So it's a lot of kind of fake things, so to speak. So this map is only fake 3D. It's not really 3D. It's real 3D in Bryce, but it's only made to look good, not to really be fully referenced. That's what I will remedy with using World Machine and the technology today, because that is real 3D with proper elevations and everything. So bit by bit I'm going to redo this map in proper 3D in more detail. But that's for future projects. Okay, so now we save this, and that means that we have done almost a third or a little bit more of the area here. So let's go around that island. I'm going to say is that island, so I'm simply going to skip that bit here, paint over and set, but have that done. I'm going to take a look here and see. Well, maybe not. Maybe we need to put another one. We have one island there, and so hang on a second. That was, see, you always need to double and triple check your work. So we need to put an island there too. So let's make an island and put that, so we can kind of fill in the blanks here and do the same thing. The good thing with tropical islands is that you can just steal jungle anywhere on the side here. Now I'm going to remove texture and scattering and just make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to make it a little bit that big, and then I'm going to steal some jungle. Let's make this one more hilly and still a hill there, and just go in here and steal some hills. There we go. And now it's time to remove the mask. There we go. And now I'm going to use the brush tool here, and I'm going to just take some surrounding ocean, and that needs to be, I'm going to steal some color from there, make the brush a bit bigger, then paint over the surrounding area around the island here. can actually steal that color and use the same color of the surrounding areas. Now I need a much smaller brush. I need a very small brush here. Something like that. I need way more hardness. And now it's time to go in and do the fine details here. So I'm going to steal some more of the, and then go in and work in the coastlines here a bit. And I need way more of, there we go. Now I can steal in the, and then make the coastlines here. Oops, that was a little bit too much, I think. I'm going to make it smaller. And also I'm going to check my scattering, because if you have a problem getting it right, then you have too much scatter. So I'm just going to have a little bit of scatter. And then I'm trying to, oh yeah, that's better. So then I'm going to follow the, what looks like a natural coastline here. So I'm going to take the flat areas and indent them a bit like this. And then I'm going to, and leave some little bit of room for beaches. And now I can make a bigger brush and paint out the shallow ocean all the way over here. And this need to be cleaned up around each of the islands, but that's something I'm going to sit and watch some good podcasts and spend the whole day just painting the oceans here. So that's not something I'm going to force you guys to. Oh, thank you, Pete Bog. Thank you. To see if I'm not going to. I don't think anyone wants to watch that. That is kind of too boring to watch that. So I'm going to make this brush smaller, and now it's time to start working on the beaches here a bit. And then I'm going to steal the beach color, and I'm going to make the beach a little bit less colorful and a bit brighter. And then it's time to reduce the opacity and the flow a little bit, and oh, that way too much. Way too tough. Now we need a little bit, we need less hardness, and yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's better. I can probably do more hardness, and even smaller. There we go. Yep, that's the thing. Now I can, there we have a beach. And now I'm going to steal the color back here. There we go. Now I'm going to switch color, so I have the ocean color on one, then I can just use the X key and move between the blue of the ocean and the beaches. So let's have a large beach there. I can have some small beaches here, and then kind of add a little bit of beach and shallow ocean around it too. There we have our little hilltop. Maybe a burgeoning little volcano or something. There we go. Yeah. That looks okay. So now we need some shallow ocean again. And now I can probably go in and find some brush again. I should have settings for this, but I'm lazy and just do them on the fly. Yeah, that will work. Oops. This is one of the most stupid bugs in Photoshop, is that when you do a setting and you selected the mask, and then when you tweak something up here, Photoshop goes back and selects the layer rather than the mask, and that's so irritating. I wonder who the heck came up with that idea, that it goes back home to the layer. If I want to work on the mask, I want to work on the mask even if I make the brush bigger or smaller. That's one of these things that they have to change. I've emailed them about that, or mentioned it in various of these surveys they do, but no, they don't. And now I realize that there is something else, a problem with the shallow ocean. So I need to go back in and take the pencil and remove it, because the shallow ocean is actually above the layer. So I need to go in here and paint away the shallow ocean over the landmass. Here we go. That was probably not a good idea to do it that drastic. There we go. I need to use the brush, not the pencil, for that. And then we remove the hardness, and we increase the opacity. Here we go. Yeah, that is good, except that we can't have scattering on. And I need to have it smaller. Now we can actually bring forth the island, and then can add a little bit of mist around here. So you have to realize that's 100%. So yeah, we can probably put some texture in this and put the size and add a little bit of size just for the heck of it, and then reduce this. And now I can paint in some texture on this. There we go. So I get, otherwise it just looks, it doesn't look natural. We need to have some variations in it. So that will do. Okay, time to save again, so we don't lose too much. Yeah, looks like we got the stream connection is up again. We have excellent connection to the internet again, so that's good. So it's time to look in. Well, it will be a lot of island hopping today. That's just, but this needs to be done, and I want to have the whole terrain map done in October, so I can spend December or November to do all the all the settlements and all that stuff. So that's why I have October to work on it. So I thought I want to, and the big thing is to do all the ocean levels here, and the ocean depth is the main thing here. But so I want to have all these islands done before October 1st, I hope. So I have a couple of more weeks to do it, to get these done. So okay, so that we have, that was these two, and so now it's this group here that we need to get, and then we have these in between here. So I'm going to put that one aside, and then it's time to dig into, let's do these, and I need to add some more ocean level here, so we can, now we have texture, and don't want texture right now. Now I want more blob here, so there we go, just so it looks a little bit less ugly. Paint over the ugly bits here. Yep. Yep, Samuel. This time of in the evening, it's the same thing. I'll often get a dip around 7 when people are done their dinner and they sit in the couch and they watch all cable TV, Netflix, gaming, whatsoever. And since this is a 55 plus community, that means that it's not that much gaming, but probably way more Netflix and like video call, phone calls and stuff. Okay, so time to do some more stealing here and use this one and see what's the size of it. 50 pixels. I can probably do it a little bit bigger. Okay, so we have this kind of elongated island here. So the other one was very hilly, so let's do this one a little bit in between here. So we did take this area with some little naked cliffs and a little bit up and down. So you just press Alt and then you have that area, and then you can just go in here and basically paint it out. And now it's time to remove this bit here. And that didn't work that well there, but I'm going to, oops, I need to clone here. There we go. Have the right layer selected. There we go. And now it's time to go back with the brush tool. Make the brush tool smaller, a little bit more hardness, way more hardness. Something like that. And then we have 60. And then do this and make it real small little brush, and then go in here and paint the coastlines here again. And it's okay to not have complete coverage because you have wetlands and it should look like the island disappears underwater a bit. So I'm just painting in little creek, little inlets, and try to work around the hills and stuff. So we have bits and pieces here. Oh, that I want to keep this area here because that's perfect beach country, but these bits here I want to keep that little knob there and go in here and just work my way around. And then there is so much kind of jungles, maybe have a little bit of open land in between. So I'm going to make this one way smaller like that, and then steal some open terrain here and add a little bit there. So that was probably I'm going to change the settings here and have way less hardness on that one. And now it's probably time to add some texture and then do this. And now I can actually move some forest back in here a little bit, and here to add some like that. It can be like open fields, so if someone lives there or something. So now I'm going to add some more open spots here and there on the island there a little bit, so not everything is overgrown with trees. Okay, let's do some beaches again. So we're here and get the beach color again. There we get the beach color and a little bit of scattering and reduce the flow a bit. Okay. It's still too much. Harden in the bit and put a little bit of texture. There we go. Then now I can actually go in here and paint over the ugly bits there. So, and then I can add some. There we go. That's better as a beach. Then we can make a little lagoon here and work. I can probably increase the opacity just a little bit. Yep, there we go. Then add some beaches over here. And then skip that little bit there. Add beaches here. Some here, a little bit in there. And then put some here. Like it, that looks almost like submerged. I know this is not realistic, but it's kind of placeholder. It follows the style of the rest of the map. That's the important bit. Now it needs to fit in with the rest of it. And we need to have some shallow ocean. And then I can just probably reduce the brightness a bit and make the brush a bit bigger. Put that one there and paint in the white. There we go. And make sure I don't paint over the landscape, but I paint around the landscape rather than over it. Then extend it out a little bit. Okay, there we go. Yeah, we're starting to cover more and more bits. Now I need to just real quick do something. I'll skip that. I was thinking the blue color around that, but skip it. I'm going to fix the colors and work on that separately. Okay. Now we have this part here. Let's see if we've been very hilly. I want to have something flatter, so let's find an area here that is not that hilly. Maybe we should steal something over here from Hypmona Land. I think Hypmona Land is way less harsh. It's a bit flatter, so let's steal something here. I'm going to turn off that layer. Well, I don't need to turn it off. I just need to tone down the opacity. So there we go. And now I can just go in here and paint in some island bits here, and then turn off that so we see what we're doing. Yeah, actually not bad. We can have I want a little bit of hills, maybe. And just take some really low hills like that. Bring them in here. It didn't look that, it looked good, but the problem was that it repeated itself, so I need some new little hills to extend it here a bit. There we go. One little hill sticking up. And this one now has very kind of diffuse edges, so I'm going to go in and use this to paint in the beaches here a bit. Yeah, need to increase the opacity to like 50%. Yeah, that's better. Then go in. And now I'm zooming. This is at 200% almost, so that means that I hope no one will see the map this close, so it's kind of more detail than you would normally have, so I can kind of tweak it into the reefs and stuff here. So I think I'm the only one that looks at the map at this scale, because it's starting to get blurry and it's more detail than the map actually has, so it looks a little bit kind of out of touch. Then we can add some sand banks and stuff around it. We can actually add some there too. It doesn't look too bad. For being quick and dirty, it actually doesn't look that bad. And I zoom out to 100% and all of a sudden it looks much sharper. Not perfect, but okay. And then we have the shallow ocean, and I'm going to go here again and just make this one a little bit bigger and just start painting over the outside of the island like this. There we go. Okay, I'm going to save just to be safe here. Okay. Let's see what we've done. Yeah, we've done an hour and 15 minutes here, so good. Getting fairly productive. We 10 hours of this and done all the islands down here, I think. There's probably another day or two of work to get them done. We have also these islands here need to, I'm going to add them just, but we skip them for today, so yep. Yes, yep, the climate here is down here is probably perfect. It's kind of very tropical paradise islands. Yep. Oh, thank you, Copernicus, and thank you so much for joining my Patreon. Have a good night. Okay, so yeah, let's continue down down the aisle here. But now I know why we need to. I wonder why it looked so bad, but it's because we have this needs to be moved here. There we go. Paint away the ugly bits there. Okay. What can we do? Because I don't want I want each island to be a little bit varied, but not too varied, because they need to look like they belong together, so to speak. So we have a flat one, so I guess we just need to work on more hills, and that's just a round little one again. So maybe found some little hill here and see what we can do with it. Maybe that little sharp hill might do. Yeah. Yeah, let's go with that one. The problem is now I show the world that I've actually stolen terrain from one bit and added it to another, so it's kind of cheating a little bit. But this is not the way I've done the map before, so this is just, for now, it's kind of, it's a quick and dirty way to do it. But there are ways around it. Let's see if we can tweak it a little bit. But liquify doesn't work well on images this large, so what we can do, we can test it and see that you have a smudge tool. So let's see what we can do with the smudge tool. Strength 5%. Let's go up to 30% just for the heck of it and see what we can do with it. Oh, that smudge didn't work well. That's finger painting. Let's turn off the finger painting and make it bigger and see what we can. No, it just blurs the whole thing, so skip it. Yep, we have to live with it for now. Okay, I think that might work right out of the bat. So let's go in here, brush tool, and make the brush a bit smaller and check my texture. It seems to work. And then zoom in and do some some beach work here. And I'm going to make this one more beachy than the others, so to speak. I'm going to make it more like a lagoon thingy, or not lagoon, but this one I'm going to make it way more beach on this island than the other ones. And when I look at stuff this close, it doesn't look that pretty. And then we go to new island. No, not that one. It's the shallow ocean. So there we go. Then paint in the shallow ocean, and we can have shallow ocean all the way in between here. So when you have an ice age, these will be hills on a kind of a flat plain. There we go. Fill in these bits here a bit better. There we go. And zoom out. Okay. And zoom out again and turn on the... Okay, we have one bigger island here. And I think we covered this area, so it's time to think what we can get with the bigger one. So I'm going to do an experiment here. I'm going to take some of this terrain and then see if I can paint over some of the other bits here. So I'm going to take some of that here. Oh, I'm going to start there just for the heck of it. And then simply go in here and hang on a second. Now I had the wrong layer selected, so I need to go there and then select that point there and then go here. And then start here and paint in bits here. Now I need to go and take some new piece of terrain here. I'm going to take that one. And then create a ridge that way. And then we need something that goes southwest to northeast. I think that will work. Then get that ridge in here. Like that. And now we turn off the islands. Okay. Now I want some jungles on it as well. So now we're going to just take an area of jungle like that. No, I take it up here is more even jungle, and then go in here. And now we need a small thing here, and then go in and paint over the ugly bits here with jungle. And I need to add even smaller here so we can add some jungle in between here. Especially near the ocean. A lot of coconut trees or something following the beaches down here, and filling that one there. So now we actually got some unique terrain here that is not to be found anywhere else. And it's time for beaches again. There we go, and we extend it in here. I'll skip the beach there. Actually, I like that. I'll skip the beach there too, and there too. I can add a little bit here and there, and a tiny one there. Okay. Now it's just time to do shallow ocean and make the ocean more shallow. I will have one more work over when it comes to shallow oceans. I'm just filling in the bits just around the island themselves, and then I'm going to work on the larger picture at a separate. That will be a 2-3 days long marathon, Photoshop marathon, for a couple of days just to fix all these kind of large area problems when it comes to the ocean. Now I'm just concentrating on the islands themselves. But here we made a bunch of islands that each look different and maybe a bit too different, but well, it's a fantasy world, so I guess we can be a bit different here. And we have some coastal cliffs, we have some weird ridges going back and forth. We have that one. That one looks like a tiny volcano in the making. It's like a peak sticking up. We have a flat one, and we have one that is kind of all over the place. Hi Patrick, good to see you. Thank you for coming. Here we go. Okay, time to turn on the island mask. So now we're done with that one. So let's paint over the here. Remove that one too, and that one. Okay. Time to save again so we don't lose this, just in case. Okay, so here we've done most of the islands, about half of what I want to do today, and we have about a little over half an hour that I'm going to do this. So we have these islands here. So here we have some bigger, little bit of a bigger project to dig in. I'm going to fix that hole because it annoys me so much. And I'm going to use the brush just for the heck of it, and just gonna steal that color, and I'm just gonna fill in. And there's a little reef there, so I'm make sure I don't paint over that. So here we go. Okay. Now I'm going to see what we can do. So we had this one. I kind of like that little project. So let's see if we can find some other stuff down here that is a little bit different. Let's see if we can just steal some of these hills and then paint over them like I did here, because this is actually done using the same fakey method I'm using right now. So I'm going to make the brush a little bit bigger, and then I'm going to start here just for the heck. See, I have to start somewhere, and then I'm going to start there and build a ridge here like that, and then we'll see if we there will be a double ridge there. I think we need to have a little bit more kind of ridge to it, or some centerpiece, because islands usually are like this. They have a, so we need to find some something that looks way more natural here. So we have something that we can probably put in here in the middle of things. Yeah, that wasn't tall enough. I need something a bit more beefy. Maybe that will do. Slightly more beefy here. But now I'm going to turn off the island mask so I really see what I'm doing here. Yeah, this might do if we get that bit here. Fill in the gap there. Fill in that gap. Okay, that might do. So now I'm just going to get some more jungle again. I'm going to take some fairly flat jungle there, and I'm going to make the brush way smaller. And I'm working with the clone tool here, so I'm stealing pixels from there and painting them in here. And now I'm going to make it smaller here, and I'm going to paint over some of the parts here to simply reduce the, because I want to have more of a central ridge, and then I want to reduce the surroundings and lower them so it looks like you have an island with more of a central ridge here, and the rest is surrounded by more lowlands here and the occasional little cliff sticking up. That looks better, I think. So, and now it's time for beach time again. It's often beach time here, so I'm going to steal the color again. I guess I could do the color manually. Reduce saturation a bit, put it up there, and I think I'm still, yep, I still have my brush. So I can go in here and paint some beaches. There will be a little lagoon there. There is no big beach here, but we can make a beach here on this side because there's like a ridge there, so I'm going to keep that, and these black ugly parts I'm just gonna paint over them, and maybe not that bit there, it looks kind of good. Then we can have a little bit and a long beach here, and then have a little bit of a swampy bit there, and then add another beach here and a long beach there. We can even have a beach that kind of goes around there. Then we have some here, spare a little bit there, and have some beach here, and then skip that bit there, add a little bit of beach here. Okay, and now it's time to add some shallow ocean, and I'm going to make the brush much bigger this time. That's the wrong, I need to have white, there we go. That's better. I'm going to paint in some shallow, and there's a little bit of a reef there, so I'm going to add some more shallow waters here. And now I'm going to I'm going to use the pencil tool and just steal some color and just paint over the I'm not so sure that was a good idea. There we go. Okay. That was the biggest one. Let's see what we got here. Now I'm just going to take this one and paint away this bit here. Okay, there we have the big island in that group. Lots of islands here. We've added a whole bunch, so but I guess it's good. Islands means opportunity for adventure, which is good. We want a lot of options, lots and lots of options. But it might be a bit too many. Well, you can't you can't have too many options. It might bewilder some people, and bewilders me at times too, but I'd like to have options, and frankly it's Gary, Darlene, and Mike Bridges we can blame on this one, because they have done the best maps of the area. So we have this from the 83 box set with this island that escaped me, and it seemed to have escaped everybody except Mike Bridges, who actually put it in here. So, and then it eluded me for years, and then a couple of years ago I saw this map and so that I missed it, and I took a look at this from the gazetteer, and there it was. So now I'm actually updating this part of the map to match the sources better. Okay, so we're onto the fairly big island, so let's do this one then, the next one. So okay, now we need to see what can we do. I want to keep the same type of biome, so I'm going to see if I can find some north to south. There we have a north to south ridge. Let's go in and steal from that. I'm going to start in the south, and then I'm going to move my way north here, because I think that one was actually good. So I'm going to start here and then just move along like that, then move down a little bit. Now I'm going to turn off that one. I'll keep it for a little bit here, and then just move sideways, and then move sideways there, and then add in a little bit and a tiny bit there and a tiny bit there. Now I think we have the material needed, but there's some blue streaks and stuff in there. So that's because we have a texture on. We should not have had a texture there. But in some ways it's good because we get some beaches and stuff. So now I just need to go in and redo the central bits here. There we go. But that didn't work that well, so I'm going to see if we can find a better north-south one here. There's a lot of east and west, but not many north-south ones. Maybe that one. I know it's a little bit different, but we need to add variation here. There we go. So we can actually add that one in. That gave us a mighty ridge. Oh, mighty, but a ridge at least. And then go in here and get some more jungle. But now I want texture. So I'm going to put texture, and then I'm going to make it brush way smaller. And now I'm just going to paint in jungle and trees and stuff surrounding this ridge here. These, I would call these the brass mountains, because they're full of, I would say, brass, but we can change that, and that's something we probably should. So I can show you what we can do if we want to tweak things a little bit. Here we have the embryo to our island. So let's do some tweaks to this. So I'm going to take this area here, and I'm going to copy and paste. So now we have a new layer with just this little bit. And then I'm going to select it again, and then I'm going to go in and filter and camera raw. That might be, yeah, David, you're onto something. That might be easier to flip it at times. So I've done that often and treat it as a mask. So you can actually go in. The only thing is that here you have some latitude lines and stuff that you have to kind of paint over. And when you zoom in like this, you can see these are artifacts of the printing. They probably use a raster thingy when they so it's like a halftone image or something. So you can see here that these are artifacts either of the paper quality or the printing, or both, because you zoomed in way more detail than if you look at the printed image with the naked eye. You can't see it that well. And the interesting thing is that here are forest markings, I think, because this was the map that some sharp-eyed eagle eye person realized that this here is a forest that was missing from the beginning, that got missed in on the Darlene map. So this forest got lost. So I've actually added it in on my map. So it's, and we can see if we can find it full here. On my map it's added here. Here is the Qualwood, so I've actually added it in. So that map, that forest was missing for like 40 years, and then someone sharp-eyed told me and pointed it out to me that is actually a forest. So we added the Qualwood here. So it's kind of interesting that came. Okay, so now we have this open in camera raw, and this is what I normally use to tweak my pictures that I take with my DSLRs. But it's also good to change things with the on map images, and it's these brassy hills. I want them to be a bit more granity like, so I'm going to tweak I'm going to desaturate them a bit. I'm going to add the texture a bit here, and now I'm going to zoom out a bit here so we can see them in 100%. There we go. And we can also see what we get when we, that is a bit too blue maybe. Yeah, something like that. We can, and that is something, but we can also go into, let's reset that. Yeah, I didn't like the beginning, so I have it selected. I'm going to start over and do camera raw filter. And before I move into, I started in the wrong end, so I'm going to bring it down to 100% again. Yep, exactly, David. Like old newspaper photos. Yep. That's exactly. That's like half-tone dithering, I think it's called. I'm not really sure what's called in English, but I think it's like half-tone dithering or something. When you have like everything is dots and the different size of the dots. So you cover different percentages with black dots, and that creates a gray. Yep, it's cartographic archaeology. I love that kind of archaeology. It's so cool. So when someone points that out to me, I become like, ooh, it's so cool. So I'm going to reduce the orange saturation quite a bit here, and the yellow a little bit more, and even the red a little bit here. And then I'm going to check the luminance, and I can make them brighter. I can take the yellow here and make it a little bit brighter, and I can even tweak the red a bit, and then we can tweak the hue, but I think that's okay. So I'm going to switch that. Now we got something grayer here, and now I'm also going to add some noise. Hang on a second, I should have done that in filter. I forgot that. I'm kind of losing my mojo here a bit, but okay. This is a small image, so it's okay. We can put it in. And now I'm going to do effects and grain, because this is something we can add. And don't worry about it looking funny over the ocean, because we're going to mask that out. I'm just interested in the hilly bits here. So there we added some texture, and I'm going to look at the roughness, something like that. That will work. That added some texture to it, and I'm going to go back to 100%. Okay, and now I'm going to mask that off. Hang on a second. That. So. Okay, that was weird. I was thinking that we should be in black to hide it, but yeah. I think it's kind of, yeah. There we go. So now I'm just going to make a small little pencil here in white, and I'm going to increase the opacity, and there we go, flow. And I'm going to check if I have texture, but it's okay, I think. And then I'm just going to paint the hills here and bring them forth. So now we have something that looks more rugged and more granite-like than the other ones. So there we go. There we have something. And now I can just apply the mask and merge that down, and now it's part of the underlying terrain. Now it's time to go in and add some beaches again, and I'm just going to go down here, take the color and change the opacity a bit, like that. Double check yeah, it looks good. Make it a bit smaller, and then we go in and add some beaches here. That's cool, David. That ghost walk. I need to look at that campaign setting again because there's so many cool elements there. I want to see if I can implement some of them in my 5e games. I wasn't even aware of. I need to look at so that the ghost walk setting came with a setting map. That's more than I've forgotten about that. If it did. Then skip the beach there, add some beach here, and here we have some cool like rocky areas. So I'm just going to leave that as it may, or as it is. I'm not going to change it. I'm just going to keep it, and then add some sandy reefs along the, and then add a little bit of detail here, and then add another sandy reef out here and stuff. Can even do like that, and add a little bit of a dot there. Okay, that is 100%, so good. Now it's time to do the shallow ocean thing again. Make it much bigger, and then paint in shallow ocean, and all of a sudden the reefs and stuff makes more sense. And again, this is temporary. It needs to be tweaked. Okay, I think we got our 2 islands there. So now I'm going to put that in and go and use the pencil. Remove the white layer here. Make sure it's removed there too. Okay, time to save again. Okay, one little bit at a time. We're almost done with the Pirate Isles. A few more little islets. Yeah, we can do at least one more before I can do a little bit of overtime here. No problem. I'm working and babbling. Let's see, it goes reasonably fast though. It doesn't take too long. So there we go. Okay, so let's do this little itty bitty island here. I want to have that one function like this one. I just want some low rounded middle and then a little bit of beach area around it. So I'm just gonna Thank you, Troy. Yep, yeah, I love it. This needs to be methodical, inspirational, and kind of go in and kind of think about each step, so to speak. Look at the sources and try to be innovative and still think about it from a terrain perspective and keep the setting in always in the back of my mind, so to speak, and add the fantasy. But I love this to tweak it, and this is pure Photoshop fun, so to speak. And it's good when you do small additions and changes to the map. This works well, but to do whole like Hipponaland map, no, I need to break new ground and invent things. I can't just copy terrain I have. It needs to add new. We need to have more variety. So there, this doesn't cut it. But I have some other tricks up my sleeve for a little bit of more addition and stuff. And next stream, I think it's time to go to the polar regions and not the down in the tropics and see what snow and stuff like that can be, because that can both be simpler and trickier depending. So I'm going to let's go over here to the Hipmonaland side here and steal some of this area here instead. Let's take some of these low hills here. No, that's the wrong layer. We need to be on the right layer, and then just steal some of these low hills here. So, and then go back over here. It's good to have that navigational window here, because that way you can, when you don't have to zoom in and out, you can actually find your way around on the map here. And now it's 100 and 100%. So now I just go in here and paint over this bit here. So, and then we remove the, yeah, we have a flat island there. So you can just go in here, and now I think it's time to just go in and paint beaches. Oh, thank you, Patrick, for coming. It's great to, it's wonderful to see. I've had up to like 10 people. It's great. It's not it's a far cry from Jay's numbers, but this is a way more boring show. It's more kind of deep into one little topic, and like I would do this anyway. So it's just fun to see, to kind of show some of the tricks, and people can see how tedious this can actually be. And I didn't do rivers, but I don't think any of these islands are big enough to actually have rivers. And this is just like a little atoll or something like 5-6 miles across. And then I'm going to add shallow ocean. So we just go in here and make it bigger. And oops, wrong. I have to paint white. And go in here and paint off, and then I can use the X key, or have a key on my tablet that I've switched between primary and secondary colors. That way I can paint on and off. Just press one little button and switch between the two colors. That's very convenient. You have to have a setup that you work so you can work quickly. And I use the mouse Wacom tablet with my Wacom pen and the keyboard in my lap, and I can kind of move between all the different things. So it's kind of, you get used to it after a while. Okay, yeah, I think that will. We just need a little bit more shallow ocean here, I think. Yeah, there we go. And like I said before, the actual coastlines, the ocean floor and the coastlines and the shallow sea and stuff, that needs to be cleaned up, and that's a separate project that I will take a few days just to go over this whole area and just sit and do that. And because then I can work in the same colors, I don't have to go back and forth. It's easier to work on the land colors, the copying and stuff by itself, and then move and do all the ocean colors and do that separate. I use a Wacom tablet with a Wacom pen, because it's impossible to do this stuff, this kind of work, without any with just a mouse. That would not be possible for me. So I actually have two Wacom devices. I have a Wacom digitizer, or like a Wacom tablet, that I've had for like 15 years or something, and then I actually have a Wacom screen too. So I have a monitor Wacom that I can take a small monitor, and I can put Photoshop in it, and I can draw on the actual picture if I want to. But I don't use that so often, because I like to have the big picture, and this doesn't require that much precision. So it's more like doodling that way. So I like to have the Wacom tablet and draw on it and look at the screen. I've gotten so used to it that works. But sometimes it's good when you try to sketch things to actually draw on the screen itself. And I have both variants. So I have a 16-inch Wacom Cintiq Pro, and then I have this is a Wacom Intuos Pro. That is the mid-size Intuos Pro. So I can really recommend Wacom products. They are fantastic. They are very expensive, but they are really good quality. There are now Huion and several others that I haven't tested that I think are getting much better too. So I wouldn't be surprised if they are a good purchase as well. So when you do images, to have a pen is really, really, really important. Okay, there we go. So one more island, and I think we're done for the day here. So we have, let's remove that mask here so we can take off this island. There we go. And we have two. So well, let's do this island then. has a little lake in it there. We'll see if that lakes actually make it over to the finished product or not. So okay, so that one was flat. So this one, let's do a little bit of. Oh yeah, Troy, you should definitely look into getting a Wacom. They have the cheapest one is I think they call the Wacom Bamboo, which I think if you just want to start out and don't want to spend hundreds of dollars on getting something, I think you can get it for like a bit under $100. And I think that's good enough for just getting the pen. You don't get all the extra fancy buttons and radials and stuff like that, but you can use the keyboard for that. Fairly simple too. I still use my keyboard often, so it's kind of that will be a recommended purchase if you don't want to spend too much on it. Okay, let's see if we can steal some hills and stuff over here on Hepmonaland side of things instead. I want mountains that go north to south, which seems to be almost impossible to find. Here are a weird little range, so let's see here what we got here. That one is strictly north to south. So see what do we have here that are north to south? Well, these are kind of silvery, but we can change that afterwards, I guess. Can we find something up here then? Steal something on the Tilwanot Peninsula. This was a lot of work. The Okalashna Plateau. This is the area I'm most proud of. I love these effects here and the holes and stuff. That was something that I put a lot of effort. And this is all hand painted. Basically, it's all these kind of fake hand painted. It's no Bryce involved. It's all Photoshop. So I did that like 10 years ago or 8 or something, but I'm still proud of it because it's kind of cool. It was really harsh because lighting and stuff to get it right, but I'm happy how it turned out. I really do. So I'm going to keep the mask of this. I have that in a separate file. So I'm going to use that in World Machine when I do this, so it will actually match perfectly. Yeah, yep. Totally get that, Sam. It's Wacom is so much better. Mouse is much better for menus and clicking on buttons, but for other more precision work, the Wacom tablet is much better. And now we have the north and south. This is really hard. Hardly anything goes north south. Hang on a second. Here we have north south. We have that ridge goes north south, but it has some white on it. But we can probably paint that over. So let's steal this. Let's try and put that. Let's go there, and that just. Hang on a second. I kind of like that one better. Now, let's go with this one. And here we go. And zoom in a little bit here. And oh, now I see it's way too big, but we'll see here. So I go in there. Okay, now I'm going to hide that. And okay, now we need to do a little bit of something else to fill in the gaps. So I'm going to take this here, some hills and some, then I'm going to make it much smaller, and then I'm going to start painting in some bits around surrounding this. Now I want to go back and see what we have. Yeah, we can do a little bit like that. Okay, now we need jungle. We need low. We need fairly flat jungle. So I'm going to take jungle there. And now I'm going to turn, oh, not off that one. I'm going to turn off that one. So there we go. Yeah, the monitors are really cool, but they're very expensive. And for my kind of work, I don't use it as much as I thought. I got it like 5 years ago, and I thought, well, yeah, we use it often, but I didn't turn out to use it that often for two reasons. One is that it's much smaller than the bigger screen. That's one hindrance. And the other one is that when you sit lean over the desk so much, I get like neck strains and stuff. So it's actually better sitting position for me to use a regular Wacom tablet and sit and look at my screen and just draw. The precision is enough for me. These little islets outside, or tiny little islands there, I actually like them a lot, so I'm going to keep them. And then I'm going to paint in some more jungles there, jungles here. The good thing when you do this, you get to look at the terrain so close in a way that I normally don't do. And sometimes I'm abhorred by what I see, but in some areas sometimes I really like what I see. I see some details in here that are kind of really cool. So sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good. Okay, beach time again here. So go here and brush tool and make it much smaller. There we go. And check for, yep, it looks good. And then go in here and paint in some beaches here. Then I have a little bit of a beach there. Just add a little bit of variation. Variation is everything. To get maximum variation within a given theme, that's the tricky bit. When you do textures and try to mimic or create something that looks as real geography, you need to have the same theme, but it needs to vary endlessly. And these things can be really tricky to achieve. But it's if when you do it right, it's wonderful. It gives me such a cool feeling. So yeah. Oh, thank you, Sam. Thank you, and have a good night. Thank you so much for your support and for coming in here and helping out, so to speak. Okay, that was beaches, so let's do shallow ocean and just make the brush a bit bigger and white and just paint in some shallow ocean around it here. Just to satisfy my eye a little bit here. There we go. Okay, time to save again. Yeah, I think we've been productive. We've done 20 or so islands. We moved a couple and then created like over 10. So it's good. So I think I'm going to end it here and just save and wrap up the things here. So thank you everyone who came in and watched the stream. It's so good because it keeps me really productive and I don't squirrel away thinking about other things. I stay on topic. So that's the good thing. So I'll see if I can increase the amount of streaming I do more in the future and do other stuff too. But this is important because this is the groundwork for the new edition of the map. So yeah. Yep, split off islands. Yeah, I've done that before up in let's see. I tweaked and worked up here. I've done some works here on these the various islands here and stuff. I've tweaked, and here you can see that the surrounding here I tweak. These are basically man-made using that technique. So I kind of tweaked it and to varying degree of success, so to speak, because some of it doesn't look that good, some of it looks much better. So it's kind of the same thing here. This island is all kind of handmade in Photoshop afterwards because it was not there originally. And then when Living Greyhawk came out, they had a new map of Niron when they had this in there, and the same thing here. I've kind of split this up into several little pieces. So there's a lot of this Photoshop afterworks, after construction, so to speak, that I've kind of tweaked. So you get a lot of that kind of split off and do sandbars and stuff. So it's kind of, and then I have little things here like yeah, like this is added afterwards. I think this one is added to that one because they matched certain criteria. There were adventures set on these little islands. The same thing, even this little island is from, I forgot what it was, but it's a little island that is set on an adventure, so I had to add a little bit of some extra little pixels there, so to speak. So yeah, so that is kind of cool. So thank you, yeah, thank you, Troy, for coming in and helping me stay on point here. So thank you, everyone. I'm going to put it into the end mode here and start saving and closing up shop here. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and I'll be back with the stream next week. And yeah, make next week again, and so there will be, I will try my best to do at least one a week, and then we'll see if I can increase it from there. So, and the next thing that will happen is that tomorrow there will be a game on Lord Gusumba channel, and we'll see. There will be a lot of cool gamers and stuff, and if there, I'm on standby for that one, so we'll see if I will be in it or not. So that depends. But Jay will have so many awesome gamers in that one. So otherwise, we're back on Gabin on Sunday. And look at my Patreon for some. I'm going to drop the links, all the links in chat here, so you can find my Patreon and you can find my website and my repository and stuff where you can find the end results from this. So if you watch it afterwards, so yeah, maybe that didn't. Yeah, I hope it worked. I put it in there. So okay, thank you everyone for watching and see you soon.